Audrey played me for 7 years, then said she was bored and turned to find a younger, more handsome college student. This time I didn't make a scene, just threw away the diamond ring I bought her and cut up the wedding dress I chose for her. I boarded a midnight flight out of the capital. Her girlfriends all placed bets on how soon I'd come crawling back. Audrey smiled arrogantly. Within a day, Isaac will come crawling back to me like a dog. Yet day after day passed without any word from me. Unable to sit still any longer, she called me. Isaac, come back when you're done playing. A shy female voice interrupted her. Audrey, apologies should come early, or someone might steal your chance. Audrey's voice trembled as she clutched her phone. Who are you? Put Isaac on the phone. Eileen lowered her head and kissed me. He can't come to the phone right now. He needs rest. If it's important, wait till I kiss him awake. 1. The 7th year with Audrey. I bought a diamond ring and the wedding dress she'd always loved, gathering all my courage to propose. But unfortunately, I arrived a few minutes late to the party that day, just in time to hear her chatting with her best friend. You mean Isaac? That man's got no tricks left. I got bored of him ages ago. Audrey took a sip of red wine and smiled smugly. 7 years. Wouldn't you get tired of it too? Those people joined in the laughter too. That's true. 7 years. Even the handsomest guy would become flavorless by then. But Isaac really is quite handsome. And his figure's perfect too. At Audrey's birthday last time, he wore a full black suit. Handsomer than any male celebrity in showbiz. Seriously though, Audrey, you doted on him so much back then. Can you really let go now? Audrey's voice was indifferent. When have I ever told a lie? Her best friend quickly changed her tune. Then, you wouldn't mind if I pursued Isaac, would you? Go ahead. Audrey took a sip of wine and spoke slowly. As long as you don't find it off-putting. Have some self-respect. Aren't you ashamed? Picking up someone Audrey's already tired of playing with. There was another round of laughter. That night, I didn't enter the private room, making up some excuse to go home first. Audrey didn't ask a single word more before hanging up the phone. It was probably that night when the fiery passion in my heart was completely extinguished. Within 2 days, rumors began spreading wildly in our circle. Audrey was pursuing a sophomore boy. Perhaps due to his lack of worldly experience, the young man succumbed to money and vanity within just 2 days. At a gathering with friends, Audrey brought him along directly. The moment they entered, the room fell silent. A few friends who were quite close to me looked at me with concern. I smiled. Why is everyone silent? Why are you all looking at me? Audrey sat down with the young man before finally looking directly at me. Isaac, since today presents the perfect opportunity, I might as well speak my mind. Go ahead, I said. All these years of breaking up and getting back together have been meaningless. The feelings have long faded. I clenched my fist tightly, the ring in my palm pressing painfully into my flesh. Yet I seem to feel no pain. You can't compare to his youth, nor his sunshine. I truly like him. Audrey held the young man's hand, her eyes brimming with love. I nodded lightly. Yes, I understand. We can still be friends. You can always reach out if you need anything. Better not. I smiled faintly and stood up. Since we're breaking up, let's make it clean. No need for misunderstandings. Audrey raised her eyebrows slightly in surprise before replying after a pause. Fair enough. I'll head back first. You guys enjoy your gathering. Should I walk you out? No need. I'll just take a taxi. As I walked out of the room and casually closed the door behind me, I overheard someone ask, how long do you think Isaac will last this time? 2 days. This time he seems genuinely angry, so I'll bet on 5 days. Audrey glanced at the not quite closed door and smiled contemptuously. Within 3 days, Isaac will surely come crawling back like a dog. Hasn't it always been like this all these years? The people inside chimed in. True. How could Isaac ever leave you? Everyone knows he's madly in love with you. I smiled self-deprecatingly and quickly walked toward the elevator. Back at the apartment, I took out that wedding dress she had loved for so long. Might as well cut it up. After all, keeping it here would only be an eyesore for Audrey. Before leaving for the last time, after some thought, I still left her a note. She could dispose of the house and everything in it as she pleased. No need to consult me. I booked a flight at dawn, leaving the capital behind, returning to that familiar city. When my brother heard the news, he organized a gathering that evening, attended by old classmates and friends from before. After 3 rounds of drinks, someone else pushed the door open. Several male classmates immediately brightened up. Irene, you're really a rare guest. Yeah, Irene, what brings you here tonight? Irene's cheeks flushed slightly. I happened to be next door discussing some business and heard about the class reunion, so I came over to join the fun. She spoke, her gaze lingering on me for a moment before slowly drifting away. My buddy nudged me discreetly. Isaac, is Eileen here for you? I forced myself to look at her. She was taller than Audrey, and her figure was better too. I squinted for a moment before looking away and shaking my head. That can't be right. We haven't been in touch all these years. My good buddy ignored me and called out to Elaine directly. Elaine, could you give Isaac a ride later? We've all been drinking, and calling a ride-hailing service might get her ripped off. Elaine's gaze swept past everyone and landed on my face. After about 2 seconds, I saw her nod. Okay, thanks, campus bell. My buddy sat down with a grin and whispered to me. Isaac, why can Audrey play the field while you can't start a second spring? Besides, a beauty like Irene, it'd be a waste not to date her. How do you know she'd even go out with me? My buddy grinned slyly. The way she was looking at you just now, she practically wanted to devour you. Trust my experience, bro. 4. The gathering ended, and Irene drove me back to the hotel. When we arrived at the hotel, I unbuckled my seatbelt and thanked her. Thank you for driving me back tonight. Irene turned her head to look at me. You're welcome. I pushed open the car door and was about to get out when Audrey's words from that day suddenly came to mind. As if possessed, I blurted out, would you like to come up for some tea? Eileen's cheeks flushed slightly, but she still quietly stepped out of the car. As I opened the door, I turned to look at Eileen again. Eileen, aren't you afraid? Eileen bit her lip, but her gaze remained stubbornly resolute. Isaac, I'm not afraid. She kissed me right there in the elevator. I was stunned for a moment, but when I saw her burning red face, I lowered my head to meet her kiss. As I swiped the key card to open the door, Eileen suddenly called out to me, Isaac, if you regret this, it's not too late yet. What is there to regret? I looked at her with drunken amusement in my eyes and chuckled. Why didn't you ask that when you kissed me just now? Eileen stared at me blankly. Isaac, are you serious? For some reason, the unease, sorrow, and desperate resolve in her eyes suddenly made my heart ache. I didn't say anything more, just gently held her in my arms. I'm being completely serious. So, Irene, give me a little more time. Day 7, back in the city. Audrey's little follower suddenly sent me a WeChat message. Isaac, when are you coming back to Beijing? I don't plan on coming back for now. Everyone misses you. Eva's birthday is in a couple days. Come back and join us. No, tell her I'll send a gift instead. There was a long silence on the other end. All right then, take care of yourself. In the private room, Audrey's best friend handed her the phone. Audrey, look, why don't you call Isaac? He'll definitely listen to you. Audrey stared coldly at the few lines of text on the screen, then abruptly stood up. If he won't come back, so be it. Audrey, don't be angry. Isaac must be hurting inside. Besides, he seems genuinely heartbroken. You and that guy really went too far. We've already broken up. What more does he want? Audrey suddenly flared up. Listen carefully. No one is to contact Isaac again. Not even if he's dead. All right, we won't contact him. You just got out of the hospital. Don't get worked up. You never had stomach problems when Isaac was around. Yet just a few days after he left, you've managed to make yourself this miserable. With every word her girlfriend said, Audrey's expression darkened further. In the end, she stormed out of the room. Walking downstairs into the bustling crowd with cold wind blowing against her face only made her more agitated. Isaac, you've got some nerve. 7 days without a single call or text. As she spoke, she blocked my number. You better not come crying and begging me later. Just as I put down my phone, Irene called. Isaac, have hot pot with me tonight. You'll definitely love it. I'm coming to get you now. Irene's voice came through clearly, instantly soothing the busyness of mid-afternoon. She took me to a decades-old Chongqing hot pot restaurant. The shop front was worn, the space wasn't large, but business was exceptionally good. The strikingly beautiful and exquisitely dressed Eileen looked completely out of place in this environment. I watched as she carefully wiped my chair with a tissue, then deftly rinsed the bowls and chopsticks with boiling water before pouring me some juice. For such a delicate-looking girl, she performed these mundane tasks with surprising familiarity. You're so lucky to have such a boyfriend, Irene. I couldn't help but sigh. Not like me, 7 years of on and off relationships. The only time I ever felt truly cared for was when Audrey first pursued me. That year, after graduating from college when I lived with Audrey, I was practically like a male nanny. Since Audrey had a sensitive stomach, I learned how to cook and make soups. I personally took care of all her daily needs. But only now have I come to understand. I loved her to the point of losing myself, even forgetting the principle that to love others, one must first love oneself. How could I expect her love to never fade? While helping me blanch vegetables, Irene glanced up at me and asked, "Where did you hear that I have a boyfriend?" 8. I froze for a moment. Wasn't there always a boy following you around in college? I heard you two grew up together since childhood. Irene chuckled. He's my cousin. We've always been closest since we were kids. So you haven't been in any relationships all these years? Irene looked at me quietly yet tenderly. No, Isaac. Actually, all this time, I've been waiting for you. That night, we returned to the hotel together. After washing up, I carried her to the large bed in the bedroom. Irene looked at me nervously, gripping my arm tightly. Isaac, are you scared? Irene shook her head with reddened eyes. Isaac, I did it willingly. Irene, she closed her eyes and raised her arms to hug me tightly. 10. On the night of Eva's birthday, a mutual friend Audrey and I shared. I had the gift I bought delivered to her through a friend. Audrey sat on the sofa, the red wine before her already more than half gone. The gift for Eva was chosen by Irene and me together. It was a bracelet from a haute couture brand she really liked. This bracelet is quite exquisite. Eva smiled somewhat stiffly, glancing at Audrey's expression before daring not to say more, quickly having her boyfriend put it away. Bring it here, Audrey suddenly spoke. Eva was taken aback, but didn't dare say more, quickly handing over the box. Audrey gazed at the bracelet. The brand's logo was understated, not eye-catching, yet Audrey stared at it for quite some time. Put it away. She closed the box and pushed it aside. Eva heaved a sigh of relief and quickly reached for it. But Audrey suddenly grabbed the empty wine glass in front of her and smashed it violently against the coffee table. Shards of glass flew everywhere, instantly leaving a long, bleeding gash across the back of her hand. The private room immediately descended into chaos. What's wrong now? Why are you suddenly angry, Audrey? The injury is serious. The bleeding won't stop. We need to get to the hospital quickly. Audrey stood there motionless, her face dark and expressionless. Isaac has never bought anything from this brand before. Her voice was low, yet hoarse and somber. Eva quickly laughed it off, saying, "What's the big deal? Isaac probably just picked it randomly. After all, it's not like your birthday, where Isaac would start thinking about what to give you 6 months in advance." Yes, Audrey, the place you hold in his heart, all of us combined, don't even make up a tenth of it. Who doesn't know how much he cares about you, how precious you are to him? Audrey let out a cold laugh at these words. Cares about me? The noisy crowd inexplicably began to quiet down, bit by bit. Audrey, maybe I should give Isaac a call? You should go get that wound treated first. Eva suddenly mustered her courage, picked up her phone, and took a photo of Audrey's lacerated and bleeding hand. Then she directly sent it to Isaac via WeChat. Audrey didn't stop her, perhaps because Eva moved too quickly for her to react in time. 11. The private room suddenly fell silent. About 10 seconds later, Eva's phone suddenly rang. "See, I told you how much Isaac loves and cares about you, Audrey. Look, it's Isaac calling." Eva exclaimed with uncontrollable delight, and everyone noticed that Audrey's expression seemed to relax slightly. "Audrey, will you take it?" Eva handed the phone over, but Audrey didn't even glance at it, turning her face away. Eva then chirped cheerfully, I'll take it, She deliberately put on speakerphone, and when Isaac's voice came through, Audrey's lips instantly tightened at the corners. "Eva, what happened? Are you hurt?" "Ugh, not me. It's Audrey's hand. You have no idea how bad it is. So terrifying, the bleeding just wouldn't stop." Eva rambled on for a long while, but the other end of the line remained completely silent. "Isaac, are you listening? Maybe you should come back. Audrey refuses to go to the hospital, and this bleeding just won't stop." "Eva," Isaac's voice remained deep and pleasant as ever. Yes, go ahead, Isaac, I'm listening." Eva responded while making exaggerated facial expressions at Audrey. "Don't tell me about her anymore." Eva's smile froze instantly on her face. "Isaac? Oh, and happy birthday, Eva." "Wait, Isaac, Hey, don't hang up, Isaac." The sound of the call ending had already rung out with unmistakable clarity. Eva was completely stunned, holding her phone as if it were a burning hot potato. She wished she could slap herself unconscious right then and there. For no reason at all. Why did she have to meddle in other people's business? What kind of mess had she gotten herself into? The private room was dead silent. Audrey, however, calmly glanced at everyone and smiled. "Cat got your tongues?" No one dared to make a sound. Audrey smiled again. "Why is everyone so quiet?" "Audrey, don't get agitated. Don't get agitated. The bleeding's getting worse again." "Audrey, you know Isaac's temper better than anyone." Mary, who had been sitting quietly in the corner all this time, suddenly spoke up. "Actually, I wanted to say this for a long time. What you did before was really hurtful. Isaac is a man. What man doesn't care about his pride and self-respect? Even if you don't like him anymore, you should part ways amicably." "Who said anything about parting ways amicably?" Audrey sneered with a mocking laugh. "He's been with me for 7 years. Even a dog would have grown attached by now." Mary smiled faintly, her voice barely a whisper. "Then have you ever considered, how many 7 years does a person even have? What if Isaac never comes back?" "Impossible." No one noticed the barely perceptible tremor in Audrey's trailing tone. What in this world is truly impossible? When a heart's been broken and turned cold, how hard is it to warm it again? "Audrey, don't do something you'll regret forever." Mary finished speaking and didn't linger any longer. She picked up her bag and stood to leave. Sitting not far away, Eric watched her with inscrutable eyes, his wife of 2 years. Was she standing up for Isaac's grievances? Or was she moved by the scene to lament, accusing Eric of treating his own wife poorly? "Rongshin, aren't you going to see your wife off?" Eric curled his lips and lit a cigarette. "Who's my wife?" "My wife's filming right now. She won't be out of the crew until next month." "You're just being difficult." The friend shook his head helplessly. Eric neither confirmed nor denied it. Mary didn't dare to leave her. Not even with 10 extra doses of courage would she dare. 12. I had just hung up the phone when Irene embraced me from behind. She rested her chin against my neck and nuzzled lightly, but remained silent. I couldn't help but laugh. "What's wrong?" "Isaac, will you go back?" "Back where?" "Back to Beijing." "No plans to go back for now, but who knows in the future? After all, I haven't done anything shameful. Why shouldn't I go back? My home is still there." Eileen fell silent again. Only then did I grasp the subtext of her words. "Are you trying to ask if I'll get back together with Audrey?" "Will you? What if I said absolutely not? Would you believe me?" Eileen lowered her eyes, gently nuzzling against my cheek. "I want to believe." "Eileen, I'm a man. I have my pride. Do you still have feelings for her in your heart?" I thought carefully before answering. If I said there's nothing left at all, that wouldn't be realistic. It's been so many years after all. Eileen suddenly gave me a light bite. "Stop talking, Isaac. Let me finish." But to say this feeling is reluctance or unwillingness, that's not it either. I gently touched Eileen's face. Breaking up with her didn't cause me much pain or sorrow, so perhaps I'd stopped loving her long ago. Perhaps I had already prepared myself for the breakup from the moment she started growing distant in this relationship. I won't be distant. I won't be unfaithful. Irene held me tighter and tighter until finally she kissed me again. "Isaac, be with me." 13, but I didn't return her kiss. and in the end, I gently pushed her away. Irene, I'm sorry. Why are you saying sorry? She looked down at me, her eyes slightly red. It's my own problem. I avoided her gaze. I don't want to talk about relationships anymore. Then what have we been these past few days? Eileen's voice trembled. Isaac, what do you take me for? A backup option? I refused to look up at her, afraid I might inadvertently reveal my true feelings. Eileen's eyes were bloodshot as she released her grip and took a slow step backward. She seemed to be smiling, yet that smile was utterly shattered. Isaac, you can't do this to me. Eileen, she turned around, grabbed her coat, and walked out. I instinctively took a step forward, but then stopped. Eileen walked all the way to the door. The moment her hand grasped the doorknob, she suddenly turned back to look at me. She even gave me a reassuring smile. Sorry, I just need some time alone for now. I nodded. All right, I won't disturb you. Isaac, give me some time. Wait for my answer. Aileen left, while I felt completely drained, slowly sinking onto the sofa. An indescribable ache filled my heart. Eileen is too good, too pure. Compared to her, I am utterly filthy. It feels almost like even the thought of possessing her would be defiling her. Does a man like me even deserve such a perfect girl? Do I still deserve a devoted love? These 7 years with Audrey have tormented me to the point where I no longer believe I'm worthy of such fortune. 14. It was already 3 a.m. when Irene drove back to the hotel where Isaac was staying. She got out of the car, but didn't go inside, instead leaning against the vehicle and quietly tilting her face upward. Countless windows were lit, but she couldn't tell which one was Isaac's. Yet she knew he was there, knew he was in Hong Kong, sharing the same city with her, knew that if she just walked in, she'd see him in 10 minutes. And that alone seemed joyful, satisfying. In fact, it took her less than 2 days to figure it out. Easily, she managed to console herself. Isaac had just ended such a relationship. It was only natural he didn't want to fall in love again. His disappointment and resistance toward women, relationships, and even marriage were completely understandable. Perhaps she was too eager, shouldn't have pushed him like that. If he felt maintaining this relationship for now would make her feel at ease and comfortable, she actually didn't mind not having an official status. What could be more painful than loving someone you can't have? If I had to pinpoint a moment, it would probably be about 1.5 years ago. When I found out Isaac and Audrey had started living together, that was when I truly decided to let go. That's why I forced myself to meet new people, try and move on. But she had tried, found it impossible, and decisively ended it. No matter how much her family urged her afterward, she never entertained such thoughts again. If Isaac hadn't broken up and returned here, if he hadn't asked her to come upstairs that night, perhaps she would spend her entire life alone. Irene's gaze gradually grew calm and resolute. But Isaac had to come back. And of all nights, he had to speak that night. If the one you love comes to you, yet you still let her slip away, then, Eileen, you don't deserve the happiness you seek. 15. On the eve of my departure, I invited my brothers for a drink. How's it going with Eileen? My brother looked me up and down. Tiske. I can see the glow of spring all over your face. I'd better not hold her back. I don't want to fall in love, and I don't want to get married. Isaac, why are you punishing yourself for someone else's mistake? Besides, it wouldn't be fair to Irene either. They say the predecessors plant the trees while the successors enjoy the shade. I agree with that logic, but it's unfair for the current partner to suffer because of the ex's misdeeds. That Audrey was no good, but Irene is a decent girl. Why should you hold prejudice against Irene because of Audrey? It's not that I'm prejudiced against her. I just haven't gotten over this hurdle myself yet. You haven't just failed to move past that hurdle. You've been emotionally manipulated by Audrey for 7 years, and now you believe you don't deserve true love and happiness. Hearing this, I froze. Is that it? The pain and torment from the constant back and forth. The fear of losing what you have. So subconsciously, I've come to doubt everyone and everything in this world, convinced that I would never receive undivided love. But why can't I have genuine love? Those who betray true hearts shall swallow 10,000 needles. Yet for those who have loved earnestly, heaven will surely open a new window. You have no idea how amazing you are, Isaac. My buddy patted my shoulder and took a swig of beer. Handsome. Great physique, scholarship every year, could support yourself through college while dragging my useless ass along too. If you were a woman, I'd marry you even if it killed me. You deserve to be loved, Isaac. You deserve the best woman in the world to love you, not wasting your years on someone like Audrey. Trust me, bro, she'll regret it. For the rest of her life, she'll never get over losing you. Now call Irene right away. And cancel your flight ticket. Don't think I don't know you're planning to run away again. I looked at my friend, my eyes gradually growing moist. But tell me, will Irene and I end up like this too? No, why? Because I believe a girl who remains true to her sincere and pure heart would never be foolish enough to lose the person she loves after finally winning his affection. Do you think she's like that foolish Audrey? I shook my head. Of course she wasn't Audrey. So call her now. You can't even imagine how happy she'll be. 16. I thought Irene would be happy. But I never expected that the pampered young lady who grew up with a silver spoon, the vice president of a conglomerate who successfully took over the family business and achieved remarkable results. Yet the moment he received my call, he became as happy as a child. My brother looked at me smugly. Well, happy? I nodded. Seems like I really am happy. See, you're happy, and Irene is even happier. Isn't that what matters? At this point, he suddenly couldn't help but laugh. Just thinking about how unhappy Audrey will be in the future makes me absolutely thrilled. Not necessarily. She might already have someone new by her side. I smiled faintly. Let's not mention her again from now on. At this moment, I could actually say such words with such calmness, as if that person truly had nothing more to do with me. Irene's car pulled up downstairs just as I was leaving the bar. She stood in the night breeze, smiling at me. I stopped in my tracks to look at her, and damn, she was truly beautiful. Every inch of her hit all my aesthetic sweet spots. Audrey could like multiple men simultaneously, keeping two boats afloat without ending any relationship. Seamless transitions between lovers didn't even count as a flaw. And it's not wrong for me to start dating again after the breakup. I walked toward her, and she quickly came to meet me. Amid the bustling crowd, Eileen and I kissed as if no one else existed. Her heart was beating so fast. I touched the back of her neck. It was burning hot. Irene, do you have a fever? Her forehead pressed against mine as she panted softly, her voice tender. Isaac, I don't know what's wrong with me. Every time I touch you, I feel like this. I chuckled and kissed her lightly. Maybe touching more will make it better? Eileen's ears turned even redder and hotter. After a long while, she asked in a small voice, Isaac, what am I to you now? I teased her on purpose. What do you think you are? A fuck buddy or a girlfriend? She asked, but before I could answer, she buried her face in my chest and whispered softly. Forget it, don't answer. I don't want to know right now. My hand gently encircled her waist, pulling her closer. Really don't want to know? Girlfriend. 17. Audrey's car stopped at the entrance of an alley. She got out of the car and walked deep into the alley. There lived an old tailor there, whose ancestors had once served in the Jiangnan Textile Bureau. Now advanced in years, he had long since closed his doors to visitors. But Audrey had her ways of persuading the old man. The wedding dress Isaac had cut to shreds was delivered to the old tailor's shop half a month ago. The repairs are nearly complete today. As she walked, she thought to herself that what Eva had said the other day was indeed true. Not only do women yearn for marriage, but men also long to marry the girl they love. She had been with Isaac for 7 years, yet she never once entertained the thought of marriage. She never imagined that Isaac had once entertained the thought of proposing to her. These days, she has truly acted despicably, but those men were just passing fancies to her, never anything serious. Even that college boy who made Isaac break up and leave. She was only intrigued for 3 days. After getting to know him, she found him dull and uninteresting, her thoughts still lingering on Isaac. 7 years together, she had indeed grown weary, grown tired of it all. But some people are like colorless, odorless air. You only realize how important they are once they're gone. In the days Isaac was gone, she couldn't muster enthusiasm for anything. Even when hanging out with my best friend, my mind was still full of him. Especially when she drank too much. If Isaac was there, he would always pretend to be angry and stop her. If he truly couldn't stop her, he would still make soup for her late at night, let her rest her head on his lap, and gently massage her temples. His fingers were warm and strong, his fragmented complaints and doting murmurs so annoying at the time. Now, I miss it all the more. Audrey thought, this time when Isaac returns, she had decided to propose to him. She had known for a long time just how much Isaac wanted to marry her. 18. The old master's craftsmanship was truly exceptional. The wedding dress had been restored to look almost exactly like the original. As Audrey paid and was about to leave, her phone suddenly rang. She felt inexplicably nervous until Eva's name flashed on the screen. Her wildly pounding heart gradually calmed down. Audrey, there's something I've been thinking about, and I feel I should tell you. What is it? Don't panic when you hear this. It might not even be true. Could just be rumors. What's this all about? It's about Isaac. Maybe forget it. I think it's probably just gossip. Eva, what exactly happened with Isaac? Did she go back to Beijing? Audrey, Eva suddenly felt an indescribable ache. How things come to this? Of all people Isaac could be linked with in a scandal, why did it have to be Irene? Audrey had been at odds with her for years. Especially 2 years ago when their companies had fought tooth and nail over a major project. Audrey's firm against Irene's Chongqing Industries. In the end, Irene came out slightly ahead and secured the project, leaving Audrey to return in defeat. That was the first time she had ever tasted the bitterness of defeat. As a result, the already strained relationship between the two became utterly irreconcilable. Don't get angry when I say this. It's just hearsay for now, with no solid evidence. Well, some people say they saw Isaac in Hong Kong. Audrey's fingers tightened abruptly around her phone, yet her voice remained controlled and calm. What happened to her in Hong Kong? It seems she's with Irene. Of course, it might just be dinner, nothing more. I see. Audrey, if there's nothing else, I'll hang up first. Audrey ended the call. She carried that large paper bag, the one containing the wedding dress Isaac had bought for her. Step by step, she walked through the biting winter wind of early December in Beijing. She walked all the way to the end of the alley, to the car. Audrey suddenly stopped in her tracks. A faint, mocking smile slowly surfaced on her delicate face. In the next moment, she unhesitatingly tossed that exquisite paper bag into the trash can. 19. The second month after Isaac left. Audrey had once sent him a WeChat message. The message was successfully delivered, but it sank like a stone. The The message read, planning to sell the apartment. What should we do with your things? Perhaps she had forgotten that Isaac had left her a note, telling her to dispose of everything here as she pleased. Perhaps she was just being deliberate, finding an excuse to message him. What Audrey might have been thinking was that this was the olive branch she was extending to Isaac. If he was smart, he should know to take the offered way out. Her temper might seem terrible, but in truth, she's actually quite easy to appease. Isaac never replied. The apartment, of course, remained unsold. Isaac's clothes and all his previous belongings were left exactly as they were, as if he had never left this place at all. Audrey always came here late at night. Then she would lie on Isaac's bed, sleepless until dawn. And in the third month after Isaac left, the late nights remained unchanged. The hour hand was about to point to the number 12. Audrey dialed Isaac's number. 20. During college, Isaac was a very obedient and simple young man. Although his family was of modest means, they never lacked for food or clothing, and his parents doted on him greatly. But the restrictions were extremely strict. It wasn't until the autumn of their graduation year that Isaac began living with her. She still remembers that night. They were both trembling with nervousness. At the final moment, Isaac held her tightly. His eyes reddened. Audrey, I will never let you down. We'll be together forever. I'll treat you well, take good care of you, and cherish you always. Audrey, we'll be together forever, won't we? Yet this was the same Isaac who believed he'd stay forever with the girl he loved. He had been lost to her for a long time. So long that she could barely remember what expression he wore when they last said goodbye. Did he nod with a smile, or were his eyes reddened? The phone rang for quite a while, just as she thought he wouldn't answer. Yet the call connected. In that moment, she actually wanted to say, Isaac, come back. But when she opened her mouth, what came out was, Isaac, come back when you're done fooling around. Her foolish, laughable words were interrupted by a woman's gentle voice. That laugh felt like a sudden, icy blow to the head. Audrey felt as if her entire body were encased in unyielding ice, completely immobilized. Audrey, you can't wait until the next day to make amends, or someone might swoop in and steal your chance. Eileen. Audrey's eyes burned crimson as she ground out the name through clenched teeth. It's me, Irene. Where's Isaac? Put him on the phone. Her grip tightened around the phone, yet her voice trembled. Irene, if you dare take advantage of this situation, he can't come to the phone. Irene lowered her head and gently kissed the sleeping man beside her. He's exhausted tonight and just fell asleep. If you need something, I can wake him up with a kiss. Eileen. Audrey's voice abruptly cut off. Eileen hung up the phone and casually turned off her mobile. She lay down and gently embraced the sleeping figure. In his sleep, Isaac also held her tightly. Irene. 21. To be honest, I've thought about what it would be like to meet Audrey again. She comes from a wealthy family and has an innate arrogance in her bones. We broke up peacefully, so if we ever really meet again someday, either she'll pretend not to see me, or we might nod and exchange polite greetings. After all, my parents and relatives are all in Beijing. Audrey and I also share some mutual friends. It's impossible to never have any intersection in a lifetime. But I never expected that the young lady who was always put on a pedestal by others would have such a haggard and helpless moment. At that time, in an exceptionally good mood and at my best, I was wearing a black cashmere coat that matched Eileen's as a couple set. Holding her close, we walked laughing through the revolving door, then saw Audrey stepping out of the car. I froze momentarily, my steps halting. Eileen's warm fingers gently tightened around mine. Audrey's dress was slightly wrinkled, and her makeup was smudged. She couldn't hide the exhaustion on her face, her eyes bloodshot with fatigue. People streamed past us on either side, while the musical fountain nearby played cheerful tunes. The scene unfolded like a slow-motion shot from a movie. But I was no spectator. I had unwittingly become one of the main characters. Irene instinctively tugged at my sleeve. Yet Audrey's expression gradually grew calm. Just as she had during our passionate days, she called my name tenderly. Isaac. I stood motionless, the cheerful music still reverberating in my ears. Yet for some reason, I felt an indescribable sadness in my heart. Perhaps it was for Isaac, who had heard those unbearable words that night. Or perhaps it was for Isaac, who had been abruptly informed of the breakup that day. Perhaps it was for Isaac, whom she had loved wholeheartedly for 7 years, yet completely let go of in just 7 days. Isaac, I'll come and take you back to Beijing. Audrey never once looked at Eileen the entire time. Her gaze fell upon my face, unexpectedly tender beyond measure. I can't even remember how long it had been since she last looked at me with that expression before we broke up. Audrey stopped about a meter in front of me. Isaac, let's get married when we go back. From now on, we'll live well together, okay? She spoke with such sincerity that I almost believed it. Not long ago, the Audrey who said she loved another man was just a figment of my imagination. But it's too late now, Audrey. A shattered heart can never be pieced back together. And the new heart that grew in the swamp already belongs to someone else. 22. I gently shook my head. Audrey, just go. Isaac, I never touched that guy. I broke up with him in less than 3 days. The wedding dress you bought me, I've already had it restored by a master tailor. And our matching rings, I've kept them safe all this time. Isaac, I even had a diamond ring custom made. I'm serious. Audrey's eyes grew increasingly red, her voice trembling faintly. She held that exquisite diamond ring box, presenting it to me like a treasure. The longing and hope in her eyes were unbearably cautious. Looking at her like this, I couldn't deny that I still felt pain. But that was all it was, just this pain. Audrey, I already have a girlfriend now. I tightly grasped Eileen's hand and pulled her into my embrace. The color drained from Audrey's face in an instant. Her gaze slowly drifted downward. Finally, it came to rest on our intertwined fingers, mine and Irene's. On our ring fingers gleamed a matching pair of wedding bands. Just like me and her back then. Isaac, are you serious? I took a deep breath, turned to look at Irene, then nodded firmly. Yes, I'm serious. Audrey suddenly let out a soft chuckle. Do you really think she's serious about you? How much sincerity do you think she actually has? 2 years ago, she fought me tooth and nail over a project. Now she's pursuing you, Isaac. Don't you think she has ulterior motives? Does she dare to say honestly that in pursuing you, there wasn't the slightest intention to compete with me? Audrey, Isaac, you're still so naive. We've been together for 7 years, with so much history between us. Do you really think Irene wouldn't mind at all? And do you really believe she could truly build a future with you, growing old together? Aren't you afraid that being with her will just lead to another 7 years like the one you had with me? 23. The cheerful music had stopped at some point without me noticing. Audrey's voice fell silent too. At first, all I heard was complete stillness in my ears. Then came the faint sound of something gently breaking. And after that sound, there was only immense relief and release. See, I don't even have that last bit of sadness left. It's just a pity. Why must there always be things we regret in life? Until today, I had no regrets about loving Audrey. For better or worse, it was still my experience. But at this moment, I can't help but feel deep remorse. Why couldn't I see in all these 7 years that Audrey, deep down, never truly respected me? Yes, I'm just an ordinary man, but she's a wealthy heiress. In my eyes, we were seriously in love, but she probably just saw me as a plaything. Irene looked at me with pity in her eyes. My face was a bit pale, but I still smiled and shook my head at her. I'm fine, Irene. Irene stared at me for a moment, then suddenly kissed me hard. Isaac, Irene, have always lived with a clear conscience and never regretted anything I've done. But this very moment, I truly regret not snatching you away from her back then. What right do you have to compete with me? Taking advantage of someone's misfortune. What kind of decent person are you, Irene? Audrey, you don't deserve Isaac's 7 years of affection and love for you. Perhaps it was this sentence that completely enraged Audrey. She had never lost her composure like this before, speaking without thinking. And what about you, Irene? What gives you the right to stand before me and spout nonsense when you're the one who took a man I was with for 7 years? What do you even like about her? Do you genuinely like Isaac, or do you just like the idea of having Audrey's man, Isaac? 24. Irene delivered a resounding slap across Audrey's face. And Audrey was never one to take things lying down. She immediately slapped back in retaliation, but I instantly grabbed her wrist in a tight grip. Audrey's face turned ashen. Isaac, you saw it too. Eileen struck first. Yes, she did throw the first punch. Miss Jung, I apologize on Eileen's behalf. I released my grip, firmly shielding Irene behind me. Isaac, you're really protecting her like this? Audrey's tears fell one by one. She laid hands on me first. Isaac, and how would you like to resolve this? Isaac, I'm hurt. Audrey pointed her face. My face is swollen. It hurts so much. I glanced at it and calmly replied. Then I'll call an ambulance for you. We'll cover all the expenses. Isaac, you know that's not what I want. Audrey tried to reach for me, but I dodged her touch. Isaac, all the forced composure on Audrey's face shattered. Her gaze at me was filled with sorrow. Yet in my heart, there truly remained no more ripples. 25. Audrey said nothing more. The setting sun quietly stretched her shadow long. Perhaps it was when Isaac called out Eileen's name. Perhaps it was when Isaac immediately grabbed her wrist to stop her from retaliating against Eileen. She finally realized with painful clarity that Isaac truly didn't love her anymore. Mary's casual question that day had unexpectedly become reality. Isaac would never return her side. She had thought she would be the one to easily let go of their 7-year relationship. She thought she was the one holding the reins in this relationship. She believed she would always have the upper hand. Only at this moment did she finally understand. The one who couldn't let go was her, Audrey. Isaac was the string that held the kite. When the string snapped, the kite lost its way and could never return home. At 26, I watched Audrey turn and walk toward the car, her lonely figure fading from view. The setting sun was suddenly swallowed by the horizon. The sky had faded to a soft, rosy blue. Audrey's car gradually disappeared into the distance, as if I could see those 7 years of Isaac's life, from age 17 to 24, vanishing without a trace as the car roared away. I knew that from this day onward, the name Audrey would become just like any other ordinary name in this world. I wouldn't deliberately forget, but I would never actively recall it again either. Eileen gently wrapped her arms around my waist. I turned to look up at her, smiling faintly. Let's go, we're going home. 27. The night I proposed to Irene, I drank a lot of wine. Irene was drunk too, holding me and saying so many things. But what I remember seems to be just those two simplest sentences. Isaac, we will never have such a 7 years. Isaac, we will never break up. At the moment of swearing an oath, everyone must truly believe it. Yet when they later break that vow, they wonder how anyone could have believed in such things. But I choose to believe Irene. Actually, it's about believing in yourself. Believing that sincerity will not be betrayed at least once. The day Irene and I got engaged, we received a gift sent from the capital. It was a ring Audrey once gave me. There was also a card in the box. The handwriting on it was Audrey's. She wrote, "Isaac, I'll always be waiting for you." Eileen was by my side and also saw that card. She was a bit jealous. Too bad, I won't give her the chance. But that very night, the ring vanished without a trace. As for me, I'd long stopped letting such trivial matters weigh on my mind. 28. In the third year of my marriage with Irene, she gave birth to our daughter Lily. Shortly after our daughter was born, Audrey sent many expensive gifts. I asked Irene for her opinion. Our daughter doesn't lack these things. Let's donate them to the welfare home. You tell me about her, getting on in years without marrying or settling down, always eyeing other people's husbands and children. Isn't she just asking for misery? I couldn't help but laugh. Why bother with other people's business? Somehow, Eileen suddenly became cheerful. Right in front of a room full of servants and nannies, she grabbed my arm and started shaking it. "Isaac, what you just said was so nice. Can you say it again?" I teased her on purpose. "What was that?" Irene pouted. "That thing you said just now about not meddling in other people's business." I couldn't help but laugh, yet felt an indescribable pang in my heart. The 2 years after my college graduation were the worst 2 years of Irene's life. Yet she never once mentioned it to me after we got together, nor did she ever show the slightest hint of negative emotion in front of me. Why bother with other people's affairs? The most important thing is for us to live our own lives well. Having said what pleased her, he nevertheless picked her up and placed her on his lap. I kissed her slightly reddened ear and whispered very softly into it. "Darling, our daughter is 2 months old now. Let's go to bed early tonight." 27. Audrey's side story. When Isaac's daughter was 3 years old, their family of 3 returned to Beijing to visit relatives and stayed for several months. We shared many mutual friends, and they gathered almost every day. Naturally, I never attended. Yet after each gathering, I still couldn't help but ask for news about him. They said Isaac even went to the United States for 2 years of study after getting married. During those 2 years, Irene shuttled between Hong Kong and Paris without complaint. Later, Isaac returned to Hong Kong and started his own company, achieving modest success. Irene unconditionally supported all his decisions and choices. The only thing that wasn't quite satisfying was how often he worked overtime and stayed busy. He could have easily joined Irene's family conglomerate to live a life of leisure and wealth, but he chose not to. He grew increasingly handsome and outstanding. His relationship with Irene kept getting better and better. Their daughter was unbelievably beautiful, looking just like Isaac did as a child. He never actually knew that I still kept a photo of him at 5 years old in my wallet. Beijing is so vast, yet our circles are surprisingly small. But Isaac and I never once crossed paths. One noon, I happened to see their daughter Lily in the cafeteria. She was hiding behind a rockery, secretly eating a box of ice cream. Like an adorable little squirrel, her cheeks puffed out full. My footsteps involuntarily halted as I watched her, unable to tear my eyes away. Before long, I heard Isaac calling her name. She heard it too, her eyes widening in fright as she clutched the ice cream box, unsure what to do. As if guided by some unseen force, I walked over, crouched down, and whispered to her, "Are you scared Daddy will find out you sneaked some ice cream?" She nodded, her big eyes darting around with a particularly clever gleam. "Annie will help you hide, okay?" She hesitated slightly, looking at me for a long moment. As if confirming I wasn't a bad person, she finally nodded again. I picked her up. She was so small, fragrant and soft, just nestling in my arms. Her little hands played with the accessories on my dress. Then suddenly she spoke in a sweet, childish voice. "Auntie, do you know me?" My throat seemed blocked by something filled with bitterness, and everything before my eyes gradually grew blurry. If time could return to that year, that night, I won't let any of that happen again. Isaac will be my husband. We'll get married in Beijing, and I'll bear his children. I raised my face, holding back tears, and smiled down at her. "Yes, Auntie knows you." "Do you know my name?" Her soft little hands wrapped around me. "I'll tell you a secret. My nickname is Lily. Because Daddy calls Mommy Irene, and I'm all chubby, so my nickname is Lily." Just in time to hear her chatting with her best friend. And I kissed her soft, tender cheek. "All right, we can't hide for too long, or Mommy will worry." She nodded obediently. "Then I'll have one more bite of ice cream, just one bite." She took a big bite and gave me a sly, kitten-like smile. I patted her hair. "Go find Daddy now." I watched her walk away. Her princess dress bloomed like a flower, blossoming from afar in Isaac's embrace. I didn't give Isaac a second glance. I was afraid I'd burst into uncontrollable sobs in that crowded hall. Isaac wouldn't care about anything concerning me, but Irene would surely find me ridiculous. Yes, the first half of my life has been so absurd, so laughable. Yet for the rest of my life, even this absurdity and ridiculousness became nothing more than a delusion. The end.